Welcome to Pick Yourself Up. I am Assegid Habtwold, your host. Today, I have a special guest. His name is Rocky Kandola. He is the CEO of Hair Maiden India. He had a very inspiring transformation from underdog to top dog, from prison to Beverly Hills in Los Angeles. He's going to share with us his amazing story and some of the lessons he learned as he make that inspirational transition and shift in his life. Rocky, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. Feel blessed to be here.
Thank you. I want to ask you to briefly share your story so that we all know from where you started this amazing story. We all love underdog stories. Definitely. And your story is a typical underdog story, from prison to having a show room in Beverly Hills. So we want to know, how low did you go? How rock bottom you hit? And what empowered you to make that transition from that rock bottom to where you are today?
Definitely. So, like you said, it was, the transition from prison to doing a legitimate business in Beverly Hills is quite a large one, which unfortunately a lot of people don't even have the chance to make. For me, it really did take going down to the rock bottom. I was selling drugs, using drugs, addicted to opiates, addicted to alcohol, marijuana, addicted to the lifestyle of partying, of women, of going to sleep just to wake up at nighttime to party. I had no real direction in my life. I tried a bunch of things. I was always kind of business minded. This is why I kind of got into selling drugs. I saw opportunity present itself where I could go to one town and buy a substance for cheaper, and go to another town and sell it for more, which eventually wound me up in prison. And actually the coolest part of the story is, while in prison is where I made the business plan, one-page simple business plan with pen and paper, for the business I'm actually running today. We used to use cell phones that were snuck into prison to call out and to find out costing, marketing, what the market wanted, what the market needed. And on that one-page plan, I wrote everything down. And a few short years later, when I was out, I was in India and actually had the opportunity to start putting it together. I still wasn't sure when I got out of prison. I went kind of back into lifestyle. And a turning point came for me when my father came to me and gave me the opportunity and said, Rocky, you're not living at home anymore. You're out of prison. You're not asking us for money. I don't know what's going on, but maybe you should step away from all this. Maybe you should leave for a while. And my childhood was riddled with boot camps and military schools I went to. I always butted heads with my father because he sent me away to these programs and schools where, now they're thankfully, a lot of them are closed down due to child abuse and rape and torture, things of that nature. But after making it out of that, I didn't want to listen to anybody, especially my father. So when he came to me this time as an adult, after I was done with prison, like really humble and really as a friend, I listened. And, I like to say that I didn't really make the decision totally on my own. I was still very hard-headed back then. But some kind of spirit, higher energy, higher power came with me and said, Rocky, just go ahead and go. So I let go of all my attachments. I let go of my girlfriend, the circle I was in, selling drugs back again after prison, doing the same thing. What made my identity and made me feel like a person, that playboy, drug dealer, party animal that, I had got comfortable being. I let go of that identity completely and left the country, said goodbye to my girlfriend, said goodbye to my friends, and got a one-way ticket there. Where I was living a very clean lifestyle for a while, and I still didn't know what I was going to do. Eventually, I got to the point where I was, researching what should I do for my business, for my life, because I wanted to do something different. I made the decision never to sell drugs or be in that lifestyle again. And once I made the decision within me, it was very solid. It was very secure. I didn't know what I was going to do or how I was going to do it, but I knew I wasn't going to go backwards. And I made one Facebook post and said, hey guys, I have human hair extensions from India. Who wants to, talk to me about it? And all my friends from high school, all the girls I used to know, like, Rocky, you have hair, like, call us, we'll work with you. And I saw that and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. And that was about 6 to 7 years ago. So, in that 6 to 7 years, as we all know, it's not just snap of the fingers and you're running a business. It was a lot of work, a lot of struggles, a lot of pain, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of new life lessons I had to learn in between there. Everything from getting back into using a little bit to excessive drinking and marijuana use, to finally letting go of all that. And about 4 years ago, taking my lifestyle from what I was doing in the past to totally cutting out music, TV, movies, old friends. I stopped eating meat. I started meditating, doing yoga, reading books, listening to YouTube videos and tapes of positivity and of business help on a daily basis. I started feeding this stuff into my head, and I still to this day do that. I haven't done as much meditation and yoga the last 6 months as I'd like to. I guess my main excuse is because of COVID, because I was really good at like going to the classes. It's very hard for me to get that, that rhythm inside me all alone. I still really need the help of a teacher or class, and but it really does help me a lot. And implementing those things, including removing the distractions, have really within the last 2 years helped me transition from, in my mind especially, a person that is a criminal, a user, a drug dealer, someone that that society looks down upon because of my background, to finally seeing that no matter what it is that we go through, that I've been through, I can overcome that and leave it beyond by just changing my mindset and doing small things on a daily basis that are leading towards progress.
These are really great tips that you have been sharing about your being humble to listen to your father, your mentor, and your decision also to do business once you are out of prison, and also the decision you made to really use that downtime to prepare yourself after prison, and those changes you made, daily small changes that you made, I think they contributed a lot for you to experience the transformation. Now, I want you to think about people who may be in your place right now. They may be in prison. Maybe they're not in prison, but they could be having some addiction challenge. Maybe they lost their jobs in this difficult time. They may be right now having some financial difficulties. Maybe they have bankruptcy in their business. So while they are passing through this tough, difficult season in their lives, what are those 3 things that you think they should do to make a shift in their lives?
Got it. So first of all, as you said, let me address that. Like anybody that's going through addiction, losing a job, a painful time, in prison, you're probably feeling stuck, lost, confused, and feeling pain centered around all these things. For me, the biggest thing I learned is that we can get beyond those feelings. There's no one feeling that's going to stop you. There's no one situation that's going to stop you. The biggest thing in the beginning you need to do is change your mindset and believe that you can actually do this. And then you have to have the ability. You have to want to do it. If you're so comfortable being stuck in a position you're in, like say you're in prison and you've learned the system and you're getting food from the guards because you're selling a little bit of stuff in there, or say you're addicted and you're learning to use the right exact amount so you don't go overboard and you're right in the middle of it. You're too comfortable. Like maybe you do need to hit rock bottom, or maybe you just need to reevaluate yourself and say, what do you really want in life? So the first thing is the willingness to want to change, and then the belief that you can actually change totally. And that change does start with literally your mindset and the way you think about it, the way you frame everything in your mind. So start right there, and then immediately after that, you're going to need to face your fears. At an addiction standpoint, it's the fear of letting go of that substance. I recently quit smoking marijuana, and I was so scared. On my birthday this year, actually on February 14th, I remember before I quit, I was sitting on my couch and I was like crying. I was like, man, what am I going to do now with my life? Like, I don't smoke weed. Like, how do I make my days full? Like, what do I do? I don't know what else to do. And now I can look back and laugh at that. I'm like, wow, Rocky, like, it was not really that big of a deal. I was addicted to opiates at one point also, which, as people on addiction know, it's a very strong addiction. That was by the grace of God and by life situations and circumstances, I was able to kind of get away from that. I had a big surgery where I was almost, murdered, and that was kind of the opiate addiction came after that. So first, the willingness and the belief to change and open it. Second, I would say facing your fears. And then I would say starting to eliminate the distractions, the negativity, anything like that in your life that is not conducive to you progressing and moving forward. In all that, I think if there comes a point when you have to be gentle with yourself and understand that the healing and the progress is not like a race. It's kind of like a dance. You kind of have to work with it, kind of glide in there. You'll have ups and downs. You have to have your eyes set on the fact of progress. You don't have to get so caught up on having a specific passion, purpose, or goal. That will come throughout your journey. You'll learn it. It'll come to you. A beautiful passion and purpose while you're going through it is the passion and purpose to grow and elevate your life beyond where you are. And I truly do know that now from what I've learned. Um, as far as more tips go, it is a daily practice. It is something that will take time. It is something that you need to understand that like you're on a journey. It's going to take daily work on this. But that daily work doesn't need to seem overwhelming. It's small things. Like for me, just like the YouTube videos I started with 4 years ago were just a couple minutes here and there that would make me feel like really strongly, and I would really relate to them. Ralph Smart, Robin Sharma, Joe Dispenza, Jordan Peterson. A lot of these guys, talk a lot about really really good, positive, forward-thinking things, especially internally. To compound that, if you're looking to do business, if you're a business owner, entrepreneur, people separate the personal life and the business life so much. But what they fail to realize is those two are so interwoven. What I learned is the more I work on myself, and I've learned this greatly in the past 2 years, the more I feed myself positive energy and positive things and knowledge, the farther my business grows. And those two things are very, very interrelated. As entrepreneurs, we need to really know that. So that's kind of like.
Yeah, these are really great tips. We have 3 minutes before we go for a break. So I want to ask you this question. You talked about mentality. I have studied top dog mentalities. People who could be underdogs turned to be top dogs, and they have unique mentality. And my question to you is, how do you describe your mentality, your mindset, your attitude?
My attitude and mindset has grown greatly, and I like to say that I'm still almost a baby in that growth phase. It's only been a couple of years since I've implemented these things, and these things for my mindset are, and I still have backward steps from time to time, but a strong early morning start. Wake up, there's this, I can't remember his name right now. There's a guy on YouTube that does this thing called Savers, which is silence, affirmations, visualizations, exercise, reading, and scribing. And those kind of starts in the morning versus, getting on your phone and scrolling through Instagram, which I do sometimes still. But I've noticed now that when I stay away from that and I do a proper morning routine, that my day is so powerful and so strong. Beyond that, I don't anymore accept excuses. I don't really accept that in my team and anybody. And when I hear one, I shift away from it and get more to a point of what is the solution that we have to solve this. Because I don't really accept that it can't be done, or this is an excuse for that, or this happened or that happened. What do we need to do to shift it in the future? What do we need to do to make it better? Positive thinking and affirming and visualizing that on a daily, constant basis has been huge for me as well. Those are like my main mindsets. I also am very structured in what I do business-wise. I have like notes and everywhere. I have, task-oriented systems now that I've developed and made for myself. And I'm also flexible to the point where I can shy away from them, break away when I need to, and listen to my body and my heart and what I need to do. So when I'm having too much structure, too much work, I can just step away, take some time for myself, re-energize, and come back 10 times stronger. Reading, learning, knowledge, feeding yourself constantly with different things is huge. And I like to make daily progress. I have a number of things I've implemented that I do at least 10 minutes a day. And as long as I do a couple of those things 10 minutes a day, I feel better. I feel progressive, and I feel like I'm doing things that are helping myself and my business. And over time, I've learned that to translate to be true. It works. I know it to be true.
Yeah, sure. So we'll come back to continue our discussion on this. Dear our viewers, let's take a quick break and we'll come back. Stay tuned. Don't go away.
You care for the house, the kids, and our future. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's save a little more now so we can create the retirement we want. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need. Visit asiaretirement.org/Shiro.
Welcome back. This is Speak Yourself Up. I am Assegid Habtwold, your host today. I am with Rocky Kandola. He is the CEO of Hair Maiden India. We've been talking about his amazing transformation from prison to Beverly Hills in Los Angeles, California. We will continue our discussion. Rocky, you were talking about really great stuff about how you structure your life. Especially you mentioned 2 things that I want to emphasize to our audience. The first thing I heard you say that you rise early morning, and I read some books that recommend that we have to get up early if we want to really use our time, our energy efficiently, especially people like you, people who have a lot of things on their plate. And one of the books I read is about Robin Sharma. You already mentioned him, the 5 a.m. Club. So if you are interested, you can read the 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma. Another thing you mentioned was about habits. We are really helpless without our habits. Our habits could empower us or disempower us. And one book that I suggest, there are other books I suggest, is about Atomic Habits by James Clear. And he talked about what you said, Rocky, which is having those, little manageable habits really transforms our lives. Is there anything that you would like to add on those two things?
I agree 100%. I can give you a full circle story. One of my vendors in India actually just sent me a message about half an hour ago. He was watching a Robin Sharma video, and he saw a comment that I made 3 years ago on Robin Sharma's video saying, "This is really, really helping me a lot right now. I have more questions." But the 5 a.m. club is great. That was my start in waking up early. And like, I've always had different times in my life where I've woken up at different times. But when I really consciously put in my mind, like, I want to wake up early, it started with Robin Sharma, and that was 3-4 years ago. And then I shortly after learned to implement a morning routine. As far as the Atomic Habits book, I just agree 100%. I mean, like you said, these habits can either empower or disempower us. Which one do you want it to be? Do you want to move forward, or do you want to move backwards? Because your habits, that and a multitude of other things will definitely define that. Your habits, your friends, your situation, circumstances, they're all small factors that go in to what your life is going to look like and what the output is going to be. So the things you can control, which is those habits, those circles you're in, definitely exercise some control over them.
I just want to know, for you to really transform your life from underdog, in prison, doing drugs, from that kind of environment, it's very tough to really be where you are today. You really share a lot of great stuff, and I can see the growth in you. I can imagine what kind of transformation you did. So I just want to know, do you have a mentor or someone who coaches you?
I was searching for a mentor 4 or 5 years ago, very, very deeply. I didn't know where to look. And I've kind of made the people I named, Robin Sharma, Ralph Smart, Jordan Peterson, Wayne Dyer, all these guys on YouTube, Satguru, I made them my mentors. I listened to everything they said, and I put it in my head every single day to this day. Beyond that, I have a very, very close friend named Sean. He's 100% aligned with all the things that we're speaking about right now. I wouldn't call him my mentor. He's more like my best friend, but he's definitely helped me, with his energy and just being present with me in many areas of my life, especially the last few years. And people get caught up in, especially at a younger age, wanting to have 100 friends. That was me. I was the guy that had to have 20 people, at my house all the time, hanging out, partying. But all you really need is 1 to 2, like, really, really good, solid people and good friends in your life, and you'll be just fine. You'll be better off, actually. And Sean is one of those. My father, I could call him my mentor as well. We butt heads still, so totally agree with all the things he says. He's a little bit more political and criticism based and little stuff like that, a little negative, a little bit fear and timid based, but he's a great guy, amazing father. He made me who I am. He works hard for his family, and he takes care of everyone in his circle. So love him. I do look up to him, but as far as the actual mentor for the life that I want to create goes, it's come from those YouTube videos and reading those books and feeding myself with that information.
Thank you for sharing that, because you have virtual mentors. We cannot go to where we want because we're not there yet. So we need people who have the mindset, the skill set, and competencies and personality to where we want to go. And we have to find ways, especially these days. We have internet, we have YouTube, and also books. We could be able to learn from our mentors. I want to ask you about your experience. I know you were born in New York, but your parents are from India. Have you ever had any experience in terms of racism, discrimination? Most importantly, how do you deal with that kind of setbacks in your life?
Yeah, so as you said, I was born in New York. However, my parents were first generation here. And they were in New York at the time I was born. Shortly after I was born, my father moved the entire family away from any other family we knew, away from any other Indian culture, Indian people that we had in New York, directly to Mississippi, the bottom of the map in the South. You know, we all hear stories about what we hear in Mississippi. For me as a child, I remember one thing as a young child, as far as this goes, and that is being ashamed of who I was in my skin. I remember literally thinking to myself in elementary school, I wish I could have a different skin color that matched other people, that they were getting the nice looks, the help from the teachers, the basically pat on the backs all the time. And I mean, the town I was in was a very small town, and my father was prominent in that town as a businessman. So I didn't really get direct racism then. However, shortly after I went to my first boot camp, where I was sent to Mexico for military school boot camp, which I told you those places have been shut down now for all the things they did to people. When I got out, my father put me in a private school in Alabama, about half an hour away from my old town. Now, getting to that school was like a slap in the face and a culture shock all over. We didn't know anybody in the town. We were very new there. And I very, very quickly realized, hey, I am not normal. I'm definitely not a white kid. I received all kind of like racist words and remarks at that school, even from the headmaster. I remember I used to have this red and black FUBU sweatshirt, which is a black-owned business brand, a clothing brand. And my headmaster of the school, a guy that I actually respected because he was the headmaster of a very prominent school, came up to me and literally made a racist comment using the N-word, saying, "Why are you dressing like that?" As a kid, I don't remember it affecting me that much, but obviously it's sat in my mind and been like a big thing because I remembered it so clearly as an adult. Not only that, from the other kids in the school, from the tennis team to the basketball team, wherever I was playing, I got a lot of remarks and words like that. I was actually kicked out of that school because a young kid called me that same word in the hallway, and I told him, "If you ever call me that again, I'll kill you." And they kicked me out of school for that. I was like 12, 13 years old, but obviously I wasn't going to kill the kid, but I was upset. I was trying to let it out. And as you asked me before on the break about how I used to deal with it and, what I used to do, that was it. I was very outspoken. Someone on college campus called me that. I was walking in class one day. I didn't go to class. Me and my friend drove in my car until we found him in the parking lot with his girlfriend, got him out of his car, beat him, fought him, beat him up, and drove away. I was very, very verbal against anybody, putting down anybody, not even just racism, putting down the small guy. I don't like seeing the small guy, the underdog, get hurt and get put down, because that was my childhood. At between 12 to 17, I was, at all these boot camps and military schools and places where the kids were all older than me, the kids were all tougher than me, they'd been through more than I had. And I got a lot of that, quote unquote abuse there, which actually made me, who I am today. It made me a stronger person, which is why it's kind of like a catch-22. I don't ever want anybody to have to go through that, but going through that did make me, to where I am now. Moving on beyond college, I live in Alabama. I went to prison in Alabama. I saw race wars and race riots in prison directly. I saw people get cut and people hit with signs and throwing bricks at just because they were different colors from each other. I was involved in Facebook fights and this and that, blah, blah, between, the Confederate flags being up and between, racial movements 10 years ago, 12 years ago, maybe even. At a certain point, I had to let go of it. I had to just say, Rocky, like, whether you believe in this or not, and I do believe in it, I do believe in that cause, and I do believe in standing up for anybody that's being put down or hurt, especially for their skin color or sexuality or whatever it may be. I can't attack it in this manner. I have to step back and view it with love and make changes peacefully and properly versus attacking and violence and threatening and this and that. So I took a full break from social media, everything. And now, recently as we had the riots in LA, I really had to control myself because I really wanted to say a lot. And as a business owner, it was my time to speak, and I really just waited. And I got together with my team. We made a really nice video, would say their names and Black Lives Matter, and post it like that without attacking anybody, without even going against what any other views might be, whether I agree with them or not. I don't have to go against them. And I learned that, I think Mother Teresa said it best, like, don't be against anything, be for things. So I don't have to be against, a white supremacist or a racist or someone that doesn't like, homosexuality, whatever it is. I can just be for equality. I can be for peace. I can be for love. And I can change the world and give myself to them in that manner. So that's kind of like my views now.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, the chronology. You started from fighting it and even, being violent. Finally, you decided that, what, I want to be proactive. I want to use love. And at the same time, use some approach like, creating those video clips. And I admire the shift you have made. And always, whenever we have some kind of discrimination, some things that are unfair, the best way to deal with them is to be the better person, to show love, forgiveness, but at the same time also we need to increase awareness, and we have to make sure that the policies and also the rules and regulations are fair, so that everybody is treated equal, regardless of their color, race, gender, and whatever preference they have. And thank you for sharing that. With the remaining time that we have, I want to talk about your experience as a small business owner. In the COVID era, this is very challenging for small businesses. Do you have some tips on how to withstand the crisis, outlast it, and even position yourself to be very competitive when this all is over?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, right now, like we're all facing challenges. Small businesses are shutting down left and right. Things are crazy. And this might sound like almost rash, but as a business owner, when you face crisis, when you face problems, when you face worldwide epidemics and problems, you only have one option if you want to stay in business, is you work harder and you tough it out. You stick with it. You stick with the plan. You shift where you need to shift, but you work harder and you tough it out. For me, that's been about taking my business more online, e-commerce wise. During COVID, I've had the time. I feel like I've been blessed with the time. I'm grateful for it almost. I was going through a lot personally. Like when COVID happened, I was pulling my hair out, sitting at home. But I've had the time to revamp my website, create wholesale portions, create drop shipping subscriptions for my clients. Redo the wording, the verbiage on my sites, redo pictures, and put this all out there. And I've seen a 3 to 4% increase on e-com in the last 6 months on that. A lot of my competitors just quit, and that brought business to me. And I see the same thing in many industries. A lot of the restaurants just said, you know what, we can't do anymore. They stopped. And now if you go to Santa Monica on the west side, the ones that are open have lines and wait lists 3 days long that never had that before, because they say, you know what, we're not quitting, we're sticking with it. There's going to be an opportunity here, and we're going to take it when it comes. In times of desperation, in times of pain, in times of crises, there's always opportunities to present themselves. If we look back at the housing crisis in the great crash in 08, a lot of people made a lot of money from that. And because a lot of those people, we can talk, semantics about who did what and this and that. But at the end of the day, like they saw an opportunity, they took advantage of it. I don't believe in taking advantage of other people, but when you see an opportunity in front of you that would allow you to do better in your business, take it. Work harder. I am on the phones every day. I have over 1,500 clients on every continent in the world, and I answer my phone directly. Me and my team of 2 other people that work directly with me, we handle everybody together, and we work very hard. My assistant Miranda, amazing person who knows since college, actually came the other day. He's like, Rocky, like, when are you going to change this 24/7 thing? I was like, for me, I'm not going to change it. Have you guys on hours?
Yeah, actually, I like your spirit in this crisis, because that we're going to have a new normal, and you are actually stepping up and making yourself ready for the new normal to be successful. And I congratulate you for that. We've just left 1 minute. I want to ask you how people could be able to reach out to you.
Definitely. So as I said, I answer my phone directly. If we're talking about this kind of stuff, I tell people, call me, 228-596-5678. I'll answer my phone. I'll talk to you. I love discussing this kind of stuff. I have a personal blog also. It's just rockykandola.com. Rocky is my nickname. Kandola is my last name, Kandola.com, where I post links to all my different businesses that I do, as well as my blog, discussing podcasts, discussing, my childhood, discussing my steps from, prison to business, convict to CEO, things like that. Email me, rockykandola@gmail.com. Or if you type in Rocky Singh Kandola on Google, I'm pretty sure I'm the only Rocky Singh Kandola out there that's on Google. So I'm pretty easy to find. So just, reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to listen to you. So.
Thank you, Rocky. Really, I was inspired by your story, and also you shared really amazing stuff, tips, and insights to our audience. So I want to thank you on behalf of our audience, and I look forward to have another conversation maybe in the future so that we could be able to learn more from your story. Thank you.
I look forward to it as well. Thank you very much.
Dear our viewers, I hope you enjoyed our conversation. Until I see you next time with another interview, have a great time. Thank you very much for watching.